Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these super easy crochet cup cozies. They are the perfect size for a nice big cup of coffee, but you can easily make them smaller or bigger depending on your needs. All you need to get started is 20 to 25 grams of worsted weight yarn and a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I will leave a link to the pattern in the description below for you, but for now let's jump right into the video. So the cozy we're making today measures about 4.5 inches across by 4 inches tall. We're going to be using Vanna's Choice yarn today, which is a worsted weight yarn and a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need some scissors and a stitch marker and a needle to weave in your ends. I want to mention that of course you can substitute any worsted weight yarn that you like. A cotton or a cotton blend would work great as well. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is creating our slip knot, continued by chaining 31. So you can just go ahead and do that, and I'll meet up with you once that chain's completed and we'll move on to round 1. Okay, so I've completed my chain of 31 and I just like to lay it flat to make sure that it's not twisted anywhere. And then I'll be joining with a slip stitch. And I'll just check it one last time to make sure that I have not twisted it. Okay, so now that we've joined, we're going to chain 1 and continue on to round 1. All that we're going to be doing for round 1 is working a single crochet into every stitch around. So we can go ahead and do that, and I'll meet up with you at the end of round 1 to move on to round 2. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 1 here. I'm just going to work a single crochet in my last stitch, and I'm going to be working continuously. I prefer this method, but if you want to join, you can absolutely join. I'm going to be working a single crochet in the first stitch, and then I'll mark that with my stitch marker. And I'm going to be working 1 single crochet into every stitch around. So at the end of round 2 you should have 31 stitches. Now you can continue on to round 3 as well, because rounds 2 and 3 will be a single crochet in each stitch around, and at the end of each one you should have 31 stitches. So you go ahead and I'll meet up with you at the end of round 3, and then that's when we will change to our texture stitch. Okay, so we're at the end of round 3, and I'm just going to work a single crochet in that last stitch, and then we'll get started on round 4. So at the end of round 3 we are going to join with a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work so that now we're going to be working with the wrong side of the cozy facing us. So in that first stitch we're going to do a half double crochet, followed by a slip stitch in the next stitch, then another half double crochet, followed by a slip stitch in the next stitch. So this is going to be the pattern that you're working for the entire round: half double crochet and slip stitch. So go ahead and work that for the rest of the round, and then we'll meet up and continue with round 5. Okay, so we're going to finish off round 4 by working a half double crochet, and without joining or turning we're going to start right into round 5, where we're going to be working a slip stitch into the first half double crochet. So the texture for this round is exactly like the round before, except for this time you need to remember to work your half double crochets into your slip stitches from the previous round, and make sure that you're placing your slip stitches into the half double crochets from the round below. Now I'm using a stitch marker, but really with this pattern I don't think it's necessary. You can see where your tail of yarn is, and that really indicates the beginning or the end of your round. So just continue to work the half double crochets into your slip stitch as I'm doing here, and then your slip stitch into the half double crochets. So keep working this way, and then we'll meet up and move on to the next round. Okay, so we're at the end of round 5 now, and if your stitch count is correct, you should be ending with a slip stitch in the last half double crochet. So moving on to round 6 now, you're going to start this round with 1 half double crochet, followed by a slip stitch in the half double crochet, which you can see is a tall stitch again, followed by a half double crochet into the slip stitch. So just keep working the exact same way as the last few rounds, and we'll meet up and continue on together. Okay, so we are at the end of round 6 now, and again, if your stitch count is correct, you should be finishing with this half double crochet in that final slip stitch. Now we're going to move on to round 7, and you're going to be working a slip stitch in the first half double crochet, followed by a half double crochet in the slip stitch, and you're just going to continue to work that way for the rest of the round, so it's exactly like the rounds before, and then we'll meet up and continue on. Okay, so we are at the end of round 7 now, and if your stitch count is still correct, you're ending with a slip stitch in the last half double crochet. Okay, moving on to round 8, we are going to join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and turn our work. Okay, so all we're doing now moving forward is repeating rounds 1 through 7 one time. So I'll put a timestamp below and you can go back and do those, and then we'll meet up and finish up this crochet cup cozy. Okay, so at the end of round 14, you're going to join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and turn your work, and you're going to flip your work right side out. The last 2 rounds are just going to be rounds of single crochet, so go ahead and work a single crochet in the first stitch and each stitch of the round for rounds 15 and 16, and we'll meet up again. Okay, we're on our very last round. We are just going to be joining with a slip stitch, chain 1, and turn, and then we are going to be working the same pattern that we were working throughout, and it's going to give us sort of like a faux crab stitch. I'm going to work a half double crochet followed by a slip stitch, half double crochet followed by a slip stitch, and you're going to work that all the way around and then fasten off. If you want to stay with me, I'll show you how to weave in the ends, but if you're signing off here, I want to say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and perhaps subscribe. It lets me know I'm doing things right, and it also helps the video get pushed out to more people who might enjoy it. So here I am joining my final last stitch with a slip stitch. I am going to just fasten off. And for anyone wondering how I weave in my ends, you'll see me working through the stitches here, making sure that I don't work in the spaces. I made that mistake when I was first learning to crochet, and all my ends come loose. So just make sure that the area that you're working in gives you some resistance, and you'll be sure that your ends won't come out. Well, that's it for today's tutorial. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and check out these next videos I think you're going to love.